Hi guys, Luca here from Airsoft again, back now with the WE Tech MP7, or it's actually an SMG8 as they call it, but it is in essence an MP7. This one is not locking back, no sorry that's not right, this one is firing fully automatically by itself. I already know the cause, I have worked on this before, recently replaced the hammer, so now this time we're going to be replacing the sears, as they have worn. Should have done it the first time around, but it is what it is. Taking these down is fairly straightforward. Pretty much same as you would a real MP7, which is one of the reasons I love working on gas guns. 2 pins at the rear. I'm sure someone's like, "Hey, you should be able to just push them out." Well, you can't. Not on this one at least, they are a bit more stubborn than that. And that is just an unfortunate fact of life. The original pins were both buggered, I had to replace them. So this is for a regular customer of mine. If you're ever doing this, by the way, really handy tip, you can keep these in the stock here. So once you've got those two out, you can pull the entire bolt assembly out. This can be separated, but there's not much point in separating it, if I'm honest. That's absolutely fine, so that's going to go off to one side. Now this is where it gets slightly annoying, in that there is very small grub screws. So the first, next to remove the actual trigger assembly, you need to remove one grub screw here, then on this side another grub screw there, and then you need to remove this pin that's holding the trigger in. So we'll do the trigger first. I think it's a 1.3 mil. That's a 1.5. Yeah, it's a 1.3. Pretty sure. It is indeed a 1.3 mil grub screw. These can be a bit stubborn, so I do recommend pushing them down through the middle to get them to come out. And to save losing stuff, put them back together temporarily. If you can, you should only go in one direction. Don't think that's right, but no, that's not right. Why is it on that? How odd. It's because I'm putting it on back to front. Ah, it's been a long day, guys. I am apparently half asleep still. There we go. When I first got a hold of this, I had to take it apart so many times to figure out what the problem was, because I was still very much new to this whole tech world and learning. But I've done this a few times now. As I say, almost all airsoft guns operate and work on the same principle, at least the gas guns do. You'll have your hammer, you'll have a sear, if there's a full auto capability, you'll have some kind of full auto sear. This, by the way, comes out this way, I believe. Push through. Yep, it is a nailed pin, so be wary of that. And then the trigger should come out. Et voila. Put that on one side. And then just give it a bit of a push. Out. Be careful as you pull this out, because the bolt lock has a spring that does like to go flying, which is underneath this. So I'll put the kit body away. I'm just going to carefully remove this little lever arm here. There we go. There is the offending spring, which is incredibly lightweight and soft. There's very little force in this little spring, but it will go flying. Right, so that's your hammer in there. And the sears we want are here and here, which is a pin here, but they are under tension. There are springs in there, So we're just going to relieve that tension. Memory serves, it's remove this one to get the hammer tension, and we should be able to just push this pin out, which is not a nailed one. Actually no, sorry, correction. Remove this pin here at the back, push down on the springs, then you should be able to, once that tension's removed, push it out from one of the directions. There we go. This one is bent, but it is still functional. That'll allow you to remove that without too much trouble. There we go. Push the hammer out. Come on, it's managed to get itself wedged. Fantastic. There we go. Just going to leave that over to one side. Now for these two, they are under a lot of tension. These springs are going to be an absolute nightmare, aren't they? I wonder if... Oh, this one's not actually under tension anymore. This one is, but it's not much. What else is that holding in? Nothing. Okay. Well, we've got to replace both of them anyway, so we're just going to send it. Why not? There we go. Goes in that orientation. I have a feeling I'm going to have to take that knocker out as well. Yeah. Oh, that was a spring. Where did that go? I felt it. There was this pin here, and there was another spring, which was not that one. Nuts. I'm going to have to go find a spring, aren't I? Okay, that's fine. This is the joy of doing this. Springs like to go absolutely everywhere. And that went somewhere over to my left, and that is now probably in the ether. I do have some spare springs, luckily. Right. Let's get you out. There we go. So these are the offending parts, and they are worn. Where are you worn? Somewhere on here that's quite worn. Maybe it was this one that's actually quite worn, but I'm replacing both anyway. Yeah, you can see it's quite worn on the tip there. And that rounding is enough that it stops working, basically. Okay, put those to one side. We've got two replacements made out of the softest metal in the world. Now I've got to remember which orientation it goes in, which I think is this way. Oh wait, hold on, is that the right one? Yeah, so that's the knocker reset. Okay. Is it that way, or is it? Where's that it grabs it? This one, I believe, lives on this side. Sorry, this side, because it engages with this here. locks into that. So this is this side, and it presumably has to be flush. That'll be this spring here. It's not that one, that one. Is that the correct orientation? No, that's back to front. Should be in that direction. I have to remember that I'm looking at this upside down. That in there to hold that. Just check, yep, that does want to force its way down, which is the way it should be. And again for this one, would be in this direction. Is that right? Doesn't seem, feel right. Feel like it should be continually under tension, more like this. But I can see the two indents of these springs, so I might be right. I might have to go back and review this footage. Okay. That is for the selector bar. Come back to that in a second. Still doesn't seem right with that sear. I feel like that sear might be upside down. I've just pushed it through a bit further. I think I had this trouble last time with this particular, we're putting the hammer in. go. Just flip this over, pull the sears back. So that I can drop the hammer. Get that engaged properly at least. Push the spring down. Put the spring retention pin back through. Okay, yeah, that's working as it should. It's both a trigger bar and the full auto bar. It works by whether or not how far it allows this thing to go when it resets. This needs to go in here. Not that way, yes, that way. I feel like it's that way. I also feel that it engages that, so no, I think that's upside down. Come on, there we go. Yes, that's correct, because that engages that, yeah. Cool. Now I need to this. Where do you live again? Doing things on the fly. You live in there. And you, this lives in this slot here, don't you? Don't you? It doesn't live in there, that's for sure. This normally, there's one this side which indexes that. One spring-loaded pin there. Then learning as we go is never wise. I'm fairly certain that this pushes on this. Or maybe it engages with that. Let's see. The issue is I can't see anything obvious for this, so I'm going to pause the video and look up the diagram real quick. I'm going to count myself very lucky. I didn't lose anything, thankfully. The only thing that happened was this little pin here popped out. And that sits in here. There's a little spring in there. That spring is thankfully still in there. And the part that I thought I might have been missing was this plate here. But luckily it's screwed in. So we can put this back on there. Huzzah! Which orientation does this go? I'm going to assume that we want it to be this way. That's that in there, like that. Not putting the spring back in just yet. This needs to be pushing this up. Does it always go up or does it always go down? I think it's always pulling it down. I have to look at the footage again. Okay, got it. So we want this little foot, not the camera, we want this little foot here to be against this edge here. So, blind moment. It's only in there. Oh, it's been a long day. Okay, you go in there. This is where you need 1,000 fingers. Push that in, down. And I'm going to use this to pull the spring around. That's lucky. Magnets, they're helpful. try that again. There we go. I'll stay there. I believe that's that, and that's that. Hammer's in. So that's now put the bolt lock in. This was also always a pain because it's spring goes in, then you have to get it sat. This little tiny lip here has to sit underneath this arm, so you have to go sort of in at an angle and then down at the same time as not losing this spring. So I recommend you put your thumb on it, and once you've got it under, you might find this happens where part of the spring is sticking out. That's where you have to kind of push it past. I do find doing something like this helps, but this is where the risk comes in. There we go, that's in. Then we put it back in the body, and once it's in the body, it is safe, and you don't have to worry about it anymore. Okay, did I put that back in? Yes, I did. If you do have to replace these parts, I highly recommend you just get the steel ones. They're a bit more expensive, but then you won't have to do this very often. You'll thank me for it later. Once the body's in, well, once it's in the body, start putting in these things. That'll keep it all in there nice and tight. That goes in the other way. They are keyed, so you don't have to worry about putting them in the wrong way at least. So 1.3mm is an unusual size for a grub screw. Well, not really that unusual, but a lot of Allen key sets won't have 1.3mm, so I do recommend the iFixit kit. In particular, this big one did come with a 1.3mm. And for those curious, yes, I did spend a good 10 minutes searching for a thing that wasn't lost. Oh, wait. No, that is a crowway. As for putting the trigger in, make sure that you don't lose the brass bushing, but you do need to go in at an angle. You need it so that this safety lever even sits inside. Let's see if I can demonstrate here. See if it goes. Oh, can't. There we go. There we go. So you see how the safety arm there, just at the back there, is inside the housing. That's the way you need it. Okay, that's all that. And before you put the bolt in, pull the hammer down. Otherwise that bolt ain't going in there. Come on, where are you going in? Probably because the bolt's not lined up. No, the bolt is not lined up. So these grooves on the side, there's two bits on the inside you need to line up. Once those are lined up, then it will go in. Then we get our conveniently stored body bolts. Which orientation they go in does not actually matter. What does matter is that that pin is not where it should be. That spring even. Which does like to happen. The springs like to get stuck inside. There we go. Quite easy to get back out though. I would say your mileage may vary on whether or not you need extra encouragement with these. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. See, top one's fine. This bottom one likes to be stubborn. There we go. Cool. Back together. Let's do a quick function test. Yes, the safety bar doesn't work. It never has on this one. But I have not been asked to fix that. I think this magazine's got a bit of gas in it. Yep. So let's give it a test. Yep, it's not automatic firing anymore. That's because it's got very little gas. Let's give it a top up. Straight propane. And now the mag's leaky. Fantastic. Thankfully that's an easy fix. But we'll fix that in a second. Just do a quick test. Yep, just very cold mag. It is a bit chilly today. So, not unexpected. Okay. Oh, very cold mag. Let's get that out, shall we? Oh dear, don't you be doing that. Thank you. The mag follower, the mag base plate retainer thing likes to come out. Now my garage smells of propane. Fantastic. How cold is this bowl? That's pretty cold. I don't know if I picked up the one with the new valve on it or one of the ones with the older valves. This is one of the older valves. And I can see what's happened. The O-ring has shifted somehow. Come on. Let's get that back on the shoulder. Get some grease. Remember, grease on the O-rings. This is the Jaeger 1 grease that I'm trying out. I will say that the thing I like most about this thing is the applicator. Very, very handy. I don't like how little you get per tube though. Now, guys on James's Discord say you should only need to use this stuff. You shouldn't need to use silicone grease on the O-rings. So we shall see. There you go. Yes, I just marred that. Everyone does it. Let's try and get this to line up properly. Before we put the base plate back on, let's give it a quick fill test. It's very cold, so I wouldn't be surprised if it leaks. Okay, something else weird going on there. That has... I know the problem, right. Let's vent this. That's threaded itself, isn't it? Cross-threaded. Oh no, that is much worse. Okay. The valve broke. How about that? Yeah, it's completely sheared off. Well, looks like I'm buying a new valve. Catch you on the next one.